Hi, my name's Paul Ryder and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV with me, Ped. Baz, we're joined by Matt Jones. He's still wearing the same t-shirt he wears every week. We need to get that sorted out.
First time I bought this one for
Right, we're here to talk about transfer, deadline day, the whole window, the whole shebang. We've asked for your tweets as well on Toffee tweets on Twitter. We'll throw some of them in during the show. But
Toffee tweets on Twitter, quite good that.
It is, say that after you've had a few. Baz, we were down in that day of London doing a show on transfer deadline day. We thought it was going to be mad busy all day. It wasn't.
It's a bit rubbish really,
It was
The day was good.
Yeah, we had a laugh.
You done well on all that.
Cheers.
Makes a change, to be fair. But no, it was a bit quiet, a bit damp squibbish.
We all knew that we were going to get Foons Murray. We all knew that. But we didn't think we were paying $9.5 million for him, Matt.
Well, this clause appeared from nowhere, didn't they? I think it was something to do with, didn't River pay him loads of money or something, and Everton kind of just, they needed to get a deal done, didn't they?
We've put you in a scarf in the ground. We cannot afford to be. There'll be two planes.
$3 million to save face, essentially. It's not a bit light, but no, it's like that. So it was a bit disappointing, really, wasn't it? I think we were all kind of hoping that he was going to pull a big name out the bag, and it was going to kind of be similar to that first transfer window when he was in charge, but it became quite apparent quite quickly that
maybe he thought he finished at 12. Yeah. Maybe he was done in by those being 6 hours short.
Yeah, but it was just very underwhelming, wasn't it?
It was rubbish.
I think the whole problem for me was, first of all, Sky have created this deadline day. The fella's even got a coloured tie that he wears. It says it all for me.
Jim White.
You know what I mean? They just created this thing where you've got to clamour on this last day and everyone's rushing around, broken fax machines and things like that.
Oh, do you know what's even worse though? The Jim White's going to be going in a helicopter across America, right? He's going to be doing another way to do that 92 thing where he goes to every. He's doing that for the NFL in a one day. He's going to go to every NFL team, 32 teams in a day or something. So how long is it going to be before Jim White's doing the draft in America? Oh, God help the United States of America. Oh my God.
Jim White takes America.
Jim White takes America. There you go. Leave it at that. Thank you very much. But yeah, we were all expecting this number 10, weren't we? This Yarmolenko, this player that we actually need, this player that Martinez said we needed, and we never got him.
Well, he shot himself in the foot. Really, the manager, didn't he? Because he's gone on about all summer is this number 10. And I think when you're that specific, you've got to have 3 or 4. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. And he's left himself looking a little bit silly now with the window shut. And it's okay saying, well, Ross Barkley can play there, and Kevin Morales can play there, and Gerard Deulofeu can play there. Yeah, they all can. So can Naismith, so can Pienaar if he's ever fit. Osman, he can. But when you kind of hang your, nail your colours to the mast and say, this is what we want and this is what we're going for, and then the window closing, you haven't got it, people are gonna then feel let down, and I think that's what the feeling is.
The worrying thing for me is you look at the 11 that could take to the field against Chelsea, and it's not that different from the team from when he first started.
Yeah.
I don't think each summer we've really improved on the season before the first 11. If you look at the players that are going to be playing, it's basically a team that he could have fielded in his first season. I think things get stale quickly. We've seen that at the Watford game when we all went to the match hoping for a new start, it was all going to be fresh, and it was all just the same. And I think that first 11, even though we spent around £20 million this summer, if you add up all the fees, it doesn't really look like it's going to be any better immediately. I know Gerard Deulofeu is going to give us something different. Tom Cleverley's impressed so far. Murray comes with a reputation, whether
I don't know whether it's a good one or a bad one.
It depends who you listen to, but I don't think we've brought in a player who's really going to take that first team onto a different level.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Lennon's come in as well. We all thought that. Well, I think we all thought it was going to happen, but at the same time, it feels like if we bought like a number 10, we may have just left him at Spurs till January. He was almost like the emergency signing. It happened quite late, didn't it? And it was almost like, it wasn't. You can't really get excited about players you've already had at the club unless they're like Romelu Lukaku. So that was. He'll help, but it's not. It's still not that. We've now got like 5 right wingers.
We don't play any of them.
We don't play right wingers.
I think with Lennon, it was going to be left late because Levy's basically a nightmare, to deal with. You know, they wanted 9 million or something, Everton knocked them down to 4.5, whatever. So, I don't know, I think Lennon improves it. I think he was, like I said many a time, he was certainly the catalyst for our improvement last season. I think Gerard Deulofeu improves last season's side. No end, we've seen that at Barnsley. I think the problem is, like Matt said, we are very similar to what we were 2 years ago, but 2 years ago we were mustard, so people would argue that. I think if you look back on the window and you say they've got Cleverley, Deulofeu, Lennon, Murray, they've got
Rodriguez,
Holgate, Leandro, you'd look and go, they brought 6 or 7 players in, but I think, like you've said, if you'd have brought the one in, that would have been a name, not a first name on the team sheet, but one that you'd look at and get excited about. That would have made you feel as though we've moved on again. And I think for me, not so much the 10, I'm devastated he never brought another centre forward in. That's the thing for me. That's what's going to stick in my throat.
Well, I don't know if he's looked at Kone in the first few weeks and, you know, and thought he can do a job, because he did okay at Spurs, and he started off all right, and he's improved. But I'm not fully.
He's
convinced.
not playing as a striker,
no,
is he?
I know,
really?
but I'm not fully convinced by the lad personally. But I just wondered if he's looked at him and thought maybe he's an option there. And you mentioned Alan Leonard. I think he's kind of been harshly judged in a way because of the window as a whole, and people look at him and think he's not a fresh face. He's quite a limited player. He did well for us. But people see it on the last day of the transfer deadline. Everyone's expecting us to bring in a big player, and everyone kind of gets.
That's half the problem, isn't it? Though? You know, that's half the problem. If you do your business on every other day in a transfer window, it's like, and then you do it on the last day, it suddenly becomes like, yes, you know, it's this, as you alluded to before, it's this thing that's been created for TV. This be an all end all.
But are we moving away from that now? I mean,
it feels like it, yeah.
I think a lot of teams are kind of going, you know, we'll go with what we've done our bit. Like Liverpool, for argument's sake, they done a lot of their big business early on. Other team, you know, Manchester United panicked on the last day in the Port Marshall, but teams like Chelsea brought a couple of kids, you know, Michael Hector and people like that, because they couldn't get Stones. Arsenal didn't buy any outfield players, so teams are kind of. I think we hit the crescendo with the Robinho transfer, didn't we, at Man City, and deadline day, and Jim White's tie even physically changed colour because he was that excited over Robinho, and then we had the Stoke fans turning up from.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's it. You're not even allowed to do that anymore. You and your purple dildo, you've ruined it for everyone.
It's taken on like an entity itself, though, isn't it? It's like as soon as the transfer window finished, you see pieces coming out saying, you know, the best teams after the transfer, the winners and losers from the transfer window. It's kind of like the clubs must feel under pressure to make these signings so they win the transfer window.
But all the noises are from all the managers that they don't want it. They want the window shut before the season starts. So maybe it's up to the teams themselves to, like you've said, to get that business done early, so that it does become pointless having it open 2 weeks afterwards.
But it should be finished the day before the season.
Yeah, it should be.
It should be, because then everyone, you know, then when you take the pitch on day one, it's done. You've got that side until January. Because what happened with John Stones, a lot of people said he was gone. A lot of people said he'd stay. He stayed. So there was a negative. If Everton had sold him, there was a negative connotation. They kept him, there's still negative connotations. But what's happened is 2 days after the window shut, Chelsea are back in January. So it starts again. We haven't even had a week since it's shut, and it's coming for him in January. But
that's surely more to do with the fact that those newspapers now have got nothing to talk about, so they have to fill it with.
But we're going to have this for 4 months.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah, but that I suppose we've had it for all summer. So most of the summer, so it doesn't really matter as long as the club's line is he's still not for sale. I mean, personally, I feel like that statement that Bill Kenwright made about John Stones, if that had been the day Chelsea made that first bid, we would have nipped that all in the bud. The club kept on saying we don't need to make it, and the manager, but it felt like by the fourth one, and after he'd made the statement, by the time he'd accidentally put his transfer request in, when he slipped and fell over and handed it in, that's when maybe that should have come out from the owner the day that first bid come in.
Maybe they were hoping to get a big bid come in then at that point.
Matt! How dare you?
But you know,
how dare you come on this show and sully it?
I think if Chelsea come in at the start when he made that first offer, say a day later, and said, right, you want £40 million, it would have been taken a lot more seriously then, because Everton could have gone and looked at the targets, would have had time to bring players in, and it could have been done a completely different way. It's just I think Everton handled the whole thing well. To be honest, I love the fact that they didn't even name Chelsea in the statement. But that was a great little kick in the teeth. But the main worry for me is, and I know that the transfer window is hyped up a lot, it's just how much better the teams, as a result of this and all the spending around us, have seemed to have gone on. And I know we're all happy that we've got continuity, and the manager's, that's what he seems to be waxing lyrical about having a squad which finished fifth a couple of seasons ago and keeping the core of that. But it just worries me that that's getting a little bit stale now, and everybody else around us has made really good signings, and they dragged the quality up quite a fair bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit, when people go on about the teams who've strengthened.
Should have just stopped that. I'm just a little
bit.
Go on.
Not buying into it. see what I mean when I said he was good last week? He's not good on this, see, it's all I'm just not convinced when people go on about, heard all summer about West Ham and how West Ham have won everything, the quadruple this year, and then kicked off, they lost at home to Leicester, lost at home to Bournemouth. Okay, they beat Liverpool, but hey, and what? That won't be the first, won't be the last, and I think Swansea, people are going on about again, I wouldn't have Gomez in a Yankee, you know what I mean? I think he'll get 3 more goals and that'll be him done. So, Everton could go, like we said before, we could go one.
People are going to bring that back, I can imagine.
That what, Gomez? If he gets 15 goals, fair enough, I'll hold me hand.
What will you do?
Nothing. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. If he gets 15 goals, I'll do his celebration over to the camera. That, whatever it is. What do you want me to do? What do you want? No, you're not giving me a forfeit, not a chance.
Jam.
People can set their ideas in.
Jam stones and razor blades. Right.
That's nice, isn't it? No, I just think Everton. I'm not too worried about the teams around us. I'm more worried about what Everton do. And if Everton
well, sure, wasn't this a brilliant opportunity? Wasn't this a brilliant opportunity though to get that player, that one player that we all feel we need, to get him in and go chasing after that top 4? Because surely that's got to be it. I seen the thing today on PremierLeague.com, and it was like one of these stupid surveys they do, to drum up interest. Which one of these teams will finish higher? And it was Leicester, Everton, Crystal Palace, Swansea, and I think like West Ham. And that's the bracket we're now in, isn't it? That's the problem. We're suddenly in that bracket. Whereas 2 seasons ago we were chasing 4th, and we've suddenly become we've dropped out of that bracket now. And I think if we'd managed to get a proper number 10, if we could have got a Yarmolenko, we would have been chasing that 4th spot again, or 5th or 6th. And if you chase 4th and you fall, you get 5th. Whereas at the moment we seem to be chasing 7th and 8th, and if you miss, you finish.
Who's saying they're chasing 7th and 8th?
Me.
So if they got Yarmolenko, would they be good enough to chase 4th?
I think that could have been the impetus to go. That's what we're missing. We might be missing more, but I think that's what importantly we're missing.
I think we're missing a centre forward.
Yeah, so do I. But I think if we got a number 10 in, I think that would create a lot more opportunities.
But they went after Yarmolenko,
They did.
So, and it's up to.
I'm not having a go.
No, but I'm saying to you, who would you've liked to? Because obviously it became evident very early that we weren't getting them. Other teams have walked away. It was almost a bit of a wait, and people have been cynical on this, saying Everton kind of knew they wouldn't get him, so that's why they put out. And that might be the case. I don't know. All I know is that they tried to get him. But who could we have got? Who you think could have made that difference?
I'm going to turn that question over to Matt because he's a football hipster.
I don't really think that's like a valid. The Everton, Martin has said in April that he was looking for a number 10, and surely he must have had a list of a few, and not just one player. Well, you told him it was about April time, wasn't it? Yeah. But I just think, especially someone like him, he brought in players from all corners of the world. Yeah. He's brought in a lad from Uruguay, was it 2nd division or 3rd division? The lad from River Plate. Yeah. There's obviously a broad scouting network there. There's players there that fit the bill, and he said himself he's very specific in the interview with the Echo. He said, "I'm going to look abroad for this type of player because the English players aren't really, they haven't got the guy or that kind of creativity that we need," and it just didn't even materialise. Even Yarmolenko, and everyone says he's number 10, but he's more of another wide player.
That's the weird thing, is that Baz, we sat in that interview and we spoke to him and he told us exactly what he wanted. And the weird thing is, apart from Yarmolenko, we've never been linked with anyone else who fits the description of what he wanted. And like you just said, you would think before telling us like who we wanted, he would have had this nice list of like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and you think going off that he would have achieved one of those players, and it just seems weird that he didn't get near one apart from Yarmolenko.
I've got nothing to say on him because I just think it's very easy to go, if we'd have got him, we'd have done that. But we haven't got him, so we won't do that because you can't call it like that. You know, teams have spent 80, 90, 100 million this summer and again,
don't you find it weird that the player he wanted, he just didn't even get near?
But I don't know who he wanted. Well, all we know is that he wanted Yarmolenko. I don't know. Me personally, if it was up to me, I'd have done my business early as possible. But
so do you think we should have gone for Yarmolenko in June or July?
If he was the person,
Yeah.
if he thought that's who I want, and I've identified him, then go for him as early as you can. Now, if it's a money thing, and a lot of people will come back and certain accounts will post, you know, loans and evidence of everything, that's fair enough. We can only shop when you can shop, can't you? So, fair enough, but the most basic way to do any kind of business is, like we've said, it's have a list. If it can't get A, I go to B, and if it can't get B, I go to C. So if you're still trying to get A with 24 hours to go, then you're either getting encouragement that you can have A, or you haven't really got a clue what you're supposed to be doing. And this is what I'm saying, it's in terms of being specific, going on about a number 10. That's caused them problems. We're sitting here now discussing this.
So do you think he made a mistake telling us and telling the Echo that he wanted a number 10?
He shouldn't have said a word. He should have just said, we're trying to strengthen and we'll see where that lent. You know, I've got players in mind, and if they ask you for the players, do you honestly think Jose, he's not my favourite person at the moment anyway, but do you think Mourinho would sit there or Wenger would sit there and tell you what he wants?
I think Mourinho would.
He's a bit fanciful like that sometimes though, isn't he, Martin? That's just kind of part of his makeup.
I think it's the water at Swansea, because other managers around these parts kind of make wild claims as well.
But the whole process, regardless of which way you look at it, raises concerns for me, because either Everton haven't got the money in an era of the Premier League where it's sloshing around. And, you know, everyone was saying about John Stones, it's great keeping him. West Brom kept all of their prize assets, and they still spent £35 million on players as well. So either you think, where's the money gone from? Or if they are chasing these players and they're going to teams like Stoke or Newcastle, why aren't they coming to us instead? You know, if they were genuinely interested in people like Shaqiri and Wijnaldum, even though, you know, there's reports from reliable journalists, we've mentioned it before, haven't we, saying that Everton were interested in these players, and if they're going to teams like Newcastle and Stoke instead of us, that's a concern as well.
I mean, Shaqiri, I'm not bothered in the slightest, because
no, but you're not bothered. But at the same time, the club were interested. That's a different thing, isn't it? It's all right you sitting there going you're not bothered because you might end up to be rubbish. But if the club were interested,
but if you're interested,
the question has to be, why did Stoke get him?
They probably offered him 80 grand a week.
Well, there you go. That's money, isn't it?
That's the fact, isn't it? That's neither here nor there to me, though, because if I want to buy you and your wages are too expensive, I then go and buy Jake because he's half price.
I'm cheap. I'm cheaper than Jake.
But no, look, I'm not Martinez, am I? But I'm saying it. I personally think that the way it was set up is totally wrong anyway. I think one up front is done. It's the main reason why we struggled last season.
Right.
Because it's rubbish.
Shut up. Right,
Charlie Austin, he should have bought.
He's got no knees. The elastic bands, and they're not even good elastic bands. They're them cheap red ones that you get from the post office. These full twits.
The ones that when you pull.
Yeah. I think it's because I think they're more healthier to the environment. They decompose better, and we don't want them getting caught on dolphins' mouths or anything. Anyway, let's move on. We asked you on Twitter what you thought. Paul Hughes said it's been great for new songs. It's fair enough. Mark Rimmer said needed a number 10, but he bought another winger in. Just have to keep the faith with him, and maybe next time we will. Martin Kitney said average, never fill top positions, and Stones will be gone in January. Positive stuff there, Martin. Apart from that, amazing. Rob Bennick said at least we kept Stones. Jordan Dan said average window at best. We didn't go for what we wanted, and we were forced to settle. Need a centre attacking midfielder and a centre forward. Greg E. I said the manager of our club once again let down in the transfer market by incompetent board. Ryan Lowe said Martinez shouldn't have persistently told people what he was targeting. It made himself look stupid. Go on, just one.
Do you not think, though, with all these wingers, he might be looking at changing the system and maybe trying to play a 4-3-3? Because at times last season, when we were at our best, that's the system he played. It was 3 in midfield, 2 wide players, and then Lukaku through the middle. I don't know if he's maybe going to think, play Delafeu one side and Rouse the other side, and then at least you've got cover on both flanks if he is going to play 2 out-and-out wingers.
Or Lennon.
Possibly so. Where am I? Daniel Cox says we were a Yarmolenko away from a good window. Rob Murray says not enough investments in the squad. Joe O'Toole says we were a striker and number 10 away from having a very good window. Sean O'Hare says squad stronger than it was before we started. It'd be nice with an inspiring signing. Maybe January would be better. Lads Brown's goal said there have been 3 windows to find a number 10 and we still haven't managed to get one. Really poor. So mixed bag there. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Tell us what we should have had, what we didn't have. Tell us on Twitter as well. It is at Toffee TV1. Don't forget to subscribe. We're about 400 away from that 5,000. That was our target for May, and we're 400 away, and we're in September. Get us over the line, please. We want your money.
What money?
Exactly. And we'll be back on Toffee TV soon. Thanks for joining us.